Any other questions or comments? Does anyone want to talk about some examples of how you're helping your members with small loans, for instance?
How small? What's the smallest loan you make? $500. You do $500 loans?
Well, once the loan's established, we'll go as low as 200, 250.
No, if they want.
I didn't know that.
I'd like to say something, if I could, about that. I want to thank the willingness of some credit unions to work with these people that have made the mistake of getting themselves involved with payday lenders. Thank you for your efforts in that. I appreciate it more than I can say. The other thing I'd like to say to you is that when I first started practicing law, the banks and all the credit unions did business like you are still doing, and that is you kept the accounts, you kept the deed of trust, you knew what was happening in the market. I think one of the worst things that's happened to housing, one of the real reasons we're in this depression, this recession, or whatever you want to call it, is the way that it became profitable to make a loan, whether or not the loan was a loan that should have been made, and whether or not the person to whom the money was lent to make the housing purchase was going to be able to pay for it. By factoring out those loans, you've placed the responsibility on someone else. Thank you for what you're doing in that area. And I think it's one of the reasons that the housing market has not been as adversely affected in some circumstances. I know that you have been able to get through this without having many foreclosures, and I think that's a feather in your cap. You deserve praise for that.
I want to echo that too, Roscoe. I'm telling my age, and Wesley will remember this, but I remember sitting up at the bank at my desk on Christmas Eve with a stack of one payment notes we used to do on a little form about like that, and writing $75 and $100 one payment notes to the meal workers so they can go out and get Christmas gifts for their children. That's what I'm used to doing. Now, trust me, I don't know anybody in the banking world that does that today. The credit unions you may not, I don't know. But I do know that you provide a service that's really filling a niche. And like Roscoe said, it keeps people out of that payday lending thing, and it provides them opportunity, and I thank you for that.
Yes, sir.
Is there any legislation coming up in Virginia about curtailing some of this payday lending? I know it was in the past.
Yeah, there was significant legislation the year before last. Let's see, it was the 09 session this year, 08, right? In the 08 session that substantially regulated. Oddly enough, a lot, almost, I think all of the payday lenders have now about left the state. The ones that are still here have now migrated over to doing car title loans. I anticipate that in the 2010 session that will start this January, you will probably see a similar level of regulation coming in for car title loans. At least that's more or less the rumblings that I'm hearing, that you'll see regulation there as well.
I filed legislation in the past to repeal the Payday Lending Act. I don't think we ought to have it in Virginia.
Any other questions or comments? Anyone want? Yes, sir.
I've got a question. On the federal level, Congress has passed legislation this year that, while well-meaning, has caused considerable expenses